I'm Annie.
And I'm Leah.
And this is Lactation Business Coaching with Annie and Leah, where we talk about the smart way to create a compassionate and professional private practice.
Let's dive in.
Well, hey there, Leah.
Hey, Annie. How are you?
I'm good. How are you today?
I'm doing good. Just enjoying springtime weather before it just gets blistering hot, which is coming quickly.
I was just seeing in my photo memories that this episode is coming out on May 13th, and it's right around the anniversary of the first time you and I met in person.
Oh my
Which
gosh,
was
yes.
back in like 2018 or
I think so.
at the USLCA conference.
I know. And I remember just hearing about this person who's trying to get everybody to go digital and who is she? Who's that girl? And then come to find out the history was made in the making right then that
I
we
know.
would find each other and here we are
And here we are
later.
7 years later. It's amazing.
Definitely wild ride.
Well, today we thought we would talk about just kind of an ongoing thing that I feel like I always need to work on, or I always need to keep it top of mind. And that's how to be empathetic in the way that we communicate with our clients, and knowing how much my ability to communicate empathetically is affected by my mood and my energy level. And did I have breakfast, or did I have a giant coffee? Whenever I have a giant coffee, I'm very empathetic.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Not the opposite, hurry up, let's go. We got to give you more things. I feel it makes me so jittery that I would be go, 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 do all the things.
I talk really fast and I get very dialed in on
yeah.
I'm
so
here
focused.
for you.
The whole world falls away.
Yes.
Oh, I feel one thing with our learning environments is yes, we get a little bit of communication, but I always reflect back to we both started in the Leche League, and you had to go through the communications and everything. I feel so much of it was how impactful your language is and how to word things and how to do the active listening and reflecting back. And I just felt it was such a big part of it. And then it's exciting to learn all the clinical stuff, I think, because it's or at least for me, I'm a biologist at heart. I'm I want to learn the science stuff. And I really have to kind of seek out. I feel the communications piece isn't so in front of our face. It's the shiny new object is learn more about this, low milk supply or tongue tie, but it's not learn more about how to talk to your clients in ways that won't impact their negatively for life. Because I feel that's what I hear so often is clients saying, this nurse came in and told me my baby was never going to nurse and it ruined everything for me. And I'm God, I just don't ever want to be that person that ruins everything, that they're reflecting back on me and being that Leah, she ruined everything for me. That weighs heavy on my heart, but I feel you have to put as much energy into training your communication skills as you are learning all the physiological reasons people have low milk supply. But we don't get I feel I don't know, maybe you're seeing something different because I know you're in the thick of training, options and things too, but I feel it's not as flashy, shiny thing as communication, right? Do you feel that way too?
I totally feel that way. It's not the the most important thing, but also kind of the hardest to teach or get training about. And I think it's what you said is so how I've been thinking about it lately, with making sure that what I say really lands for these people in a way that is helpful. And it's funny, this topic came up because I've been watching this, there's a TV show on HBO called The Rehearsal. It just started season 2, and basically the premise is this: it's supposed to be a comedy show, but his premise is that you can practice doing things so that you can have the outcomes that you want. Or by practicing things, you can learn what's actually happening and how to do them. So it's a very strange show, and he's got a very unique, like, perspective on the world. But this current season is about trying to understand plane crashes and what's happening in the cockpit during plane crashes. And he's like, if we can recreate these plane crashes, have actors reading the scripts and study them, maybe we can figure out what's going on and to prevent this plane crash. So in the second episode, it's not really, hopefully not a spoiler for people that have, but whatever. We're not a TV review show. So,
Right.
but what he does is he starts analyzing how the second pilot talks to the pilot in charge, and creating an atmosphere where the second pilot doesn't feel like they can speak up. So then he looked at this one second pilot who was like really good at putting like the pilot at ease, and then put her in a situation. So he created this recreation of a Canadian Idol, because he was a judge on Canadian Idol. So he set up a fake show, like a fake contest, singing contest. People come in to sing, and then the judges were these second pilots.
Oh,
And their job
interesting.
was to tell them what they, are you good enough to be, make it through to the next round or not? Then the people auditioning had to give a review, like a 1 out of 10 on the way out. So dropping it in like on the way out, they would say, can you rate the person who just reviewed you? And so this woman was giving people really bad news, like, you're not going to get passed on at the next round, but they were all giving her like 9s and 10s.
Oh, wow.
So then he's like, let me try to really like be super affirming, encouraging. He told this young girl like beautiful things, like the things he said to her. I was like, that was like amazing how he talked to her and gave her this great thing. And she was like, I mean, it was bad news. She wasn't getting on to the next round. She was like, okay. And then she went out and like rated him, and like she still didn't give him a good review. Like he's like, I'm trying, but I can't get the good review. And I was like, that is what my job is every single day.
Yeah. Can you get the good review?
Can I get the good review? Can I tell you something that is hard to hear in a way that makes you feel good about it? And
Yeah.
it was really like eye-opening. And then I went into work the next day really like thinking about this, and I was like, okay, like I really have to focus on making sure that they feel good about what I'm telling them. And then and it worked. I mean, they were both like, I feel so helpful. And then I did get like a glowing review from one of the people that I saw that day, like right away, like later
Oh,
that day. I
wow.
was like, okay,
You're like, wait a second, there's something to this.
and then I got kind of like depressed about it, because I'm like, is that really all I'm doing, is making people feel good? Like, do all the clinical skills that I have even matter? Like, just like to your point, it's like I work so hard to get these clinical skills, but then if I can't make people feel good about them, what does it matter? That's where that was
Yeah.
my
Well, I feel
spiral.
like our job is such a unique mesh of that. It's like if we want to be seen as like really good providers, not just clinically good providers, I think you have to seek out the meshing of those two things. I think you could still, you hear any kind of healthcare provider like, oh, they had terrible bedside manner, but what they told me fixed everything. So like people will tolerate the terrible bedside manner because they're like, well, they fixed everything. But I think with our vulnerable population, it's like that bedside manner, I guess you could say, is like the make or break it sometimes. Because if they leave our care feeling really defeated or something, they might not even keep pursuing their original goals because their emotional state is so delicate at that time. Like any kind of knocks to that could change the trajectory of them versus like maybe tolerating a cardiothoracic surgeon because they can put your heart valves back together good. You're like, okay, I'll tolerate you. But I don't know. I feel like with our situation, so much of it is this really heavy emotional toll these families are going through that requires so much of that bedside manner. I feel like we really have to treat our job like at least half and half. Like half of it is how you show up, how you care for them, And then the other half is our clinical competencies and being able to put the pieces together so that it does come together easy for them because we do understand what's going on. And I think that also gives us, when we do have the really good clinical skills, like it gives us the mental space. Like we're not thinking so hard about, oh my gosh, what could this be? What's happening? We're like, no, I'm confident about, I know what is happening. So I can clear up my headspace to be really present with you and really trying to help guide you through this. So I do think there's so much value in the clinical competency, but I think it's also just like this very genuine human to human interaction awareness, like that sometimes we just get wrote into our job and you're just like going through the motions. And it's like, no, you got to like check yourself and be like, okay, going to be here. I'm going to be like all in, with this other human who's going through this hard time. And I feel like I have to like take a deep breath when I start and like try to get to know the person, like that kind of building that rapport. I feel like helps me so much. I always try to spend a few minutes trying to get to know them just a little bit.
Yeah, and that rapport, I think sometimes it feels like if I have a very busy day in the office, I'm like, ugh, we have so much to do, and then worrying that am I gonna like spend too much time on this and we're not gonna have time for something else. And it is the piece too that I know that if I skate through that, then I might lose them. And it is the part that I find sometimes just the hardest to remember to do and to take the time for. Maybe that's just my personality is like, I just want to like get right to it. But, they might be the fourth client and family that I've seen that day. But I also might be the first lactation consultant they've ever met in their whole life. And
Right.
so, I do have to make that extra effort. That's where the coffee does help me make that extra. I'm like definitely friendlier. I'm not like,
That's funny.
I'm not a naturally warm person in the way that some people are, where you just feel like immediately at ease around them. But like, I feel like sometimes a little like stiff and awkward and like,
I get that too. I feel like I have to be intentional about it. I feel like I have been, just coming across different things about like body language. So I try to, this is a funny one, but to like appear more warm to people. Like when I introduce myself, I'll be like, my name's Leah, and I'll put my hand on my heart because putting your hand on your heart's like very like genuine and opening. And it's like one little like way that I start my consults that like reminds me of like genuine, warm, here for them. It feels good to me. I just feel like I get a little like oxytocin release, like, my name's Leah and I'm here to help you. Feels a lot better than like, hi, I'm Leah. So tell me what brings you in today.
mhm,
It's like,
mhm.
it's like this physical touch on my body that just like, okay, check in, Leah. Like, get your energy right. Let's start this consult. And it's something that I've just like worked into like my introduction of who I am that also is tied to this piece of like how I want to bring the energy I want to bring to the consult. So you should try it out sometime if you want just like a checkpoint. It's just like, it just always feels like really warm. And I saw that probably some reel that was like warm body language, how to start a conversation or something like that. I don't know. It just struck me, and I tried it one time, and I guess because it brought up the thought of like how to be warm and inviting in a conversation, it stuck. And so now I do it every time I start a visit. I just touch my heart and say, "Hi, I'm Leah. It's nice to meet you."
That's a good one. And that's a good example of practicing something that like the like the rehearsal is like, okay, I am gonna do this, but then doing it does something to you.
Yeah, it
Like it's,
definitely does.
and so that's a really good one. I'm like trying to think about like when I meet people, I think I usually will say, I'm Annie and introduce my intern. I like the whole like, come on in, you can put everything here. Just
Yeah,
I
like
help
kind of
you. Just
helping them get comfortable.
so my office is on it's the ground floor and there's an exterior door and there's like a little step down So people often bring their strollers in because they're often walking to their appointment. And so I like to end the appointment by leaving and holding the door for them. And I'll hold the door for them. I'll say, watch out, there's a little step down. If I've worn my mask during the visit, I'll take my mask off because we're outside and like smile at them and like smile at their baby, just try to like have like a little like closure and not just like leave now.
Yeah. Okay, bye.
Yeah.
See you
Okay.
the
Get
next
out.
one. I always take a minute, like, once they've buckled the baby all up in the seat, I always, like, say goodbye to the baby and use their name and be like, "You did so good today. You're such a sweet little one," and snuggle on those parents for me. You're doing
Aw.
so good, So I'll just try to, like, have a goodbye to the baby too. And the parents always get, like, really tickled about it, because they're just like, "Oh, somebody's talking to this little human we made,"
Yes.
which I
Yes.
think that's sometimes a fun way to like leave them on a good note. But the other like body language thing that I remember is like leaning into the conversation. So I'll turn away from my computer, like maybe when they're telling me something, like something deep or like maybe something about their experience. I'll try to like lean in and like really kind of give that energy of like, I really want to know what happened. I really want to hear what you're going through, or versus like, oh, let me keep typing about this hard thing that you went through. I'll
Mhm.
try to think about that piece of body language and kind of give that like lean in feel to it that you get. Like, when somebody's telling you something hard, it feels like nice that they're like really listening to it. I try to think about that too. Obviously, body language is on my mind as of late, but I feel like body language changes my energy just naturally. So if I can at least just think of the body language, then all the actual words or the actual kind of intention I want to bring to what I am going to say naturally changes because our brains read what our bodies are doing, I guess, is like the philosophy around that. So,
Yeah, I mean that's definitely real, and it's something that I talk to my clients about, like just like take a deep breath, drop your shoulders, like when you feel comfortable, you'll be comfortable. It helps you feel less stressed about it. And the same thing for me if I'm talking to somebody and I feel like I'm starting to hold some tension in my body, just like taking a breath,
yeah.
like just helping my body relax helps me be more present. I definitely have been helped by either like when my intern is there and I know my intern is taking notes, or if I'm using chartings AI to listen, it doesn't listen, I don't know
Yeah.
what it does, but
Transcribe. Yeah.
transcribe and to take those notes for me. I don't look at my computer at all during the visit unless I need to like, oh, let me just like check that again. But
Yeah.
like,
Like, what was the weight again? Yeah.
yeah, I mostly just am facing them. And that's also really, I feel helpful. One thing I need to get better about is remembering to use everybody's name, but I just like have a hard time remembering. And then I
Yes.
also might be like, "Oh, I know this baby's name." And then I'll say the baby's name, and then I'll get into a little anxiety loop.
Like, was that the right name?
Was that the right name? And then I get anxious. I'm like, "It's just better if just don't no names. Just don't use
Yeah.
names."
Yeah. Sweet
Um,
baby,
because
sweet
then you
baby.
can't get it wrong. If you're not using the name, you can't get at all.
Or if it's a really hard name to pronounce, I'm like, "Oh, please don't let me, like, tear this name up." I usually just ask, like, I'll be like, "This is like, tell me how you like to have this name pronounced," or something like that, so that it's like, "Oh, it could be pronounced many different ways. I wanna hear how you wanna pronounce it." So it doesn't sound like I literally have no idea. The other thing that I find helpful is to, like, balancing the empathy with, like, not over-promising or over, like, "Oh, we're going to, like, fix it. We'll fix everything. I hear you. We'll fix it all," and, like, but saying, like, "This is a lot. Like, you guys have a lot of layers of what's going on right now, and here's what I think we could tackle today, and here's what we might need to try to hold out for our next visit," or just kinda giving some boundaries around it because I do feel like sometimes it's like we want to kind of reassure them, like, "I hear you, and, like, we can fix all of this," Like, even if we don't feel like we can, we just feel so bad and want to say, like, something encouraging, but I think it also helps me narrow down my focus. Like, if they've got a lot of stuff going on and it feels very overwhelming, I can start getting like, how will we ever get through all of this, which would shift my energy and make me like have anxious, just thinking, and that gets me scattered no matter what. So sometimes I like to like try to see if I can hone in on like, this is what I think we could manage doing today. And this is the things that need to be addressed, but we'll need to find another time to address those. Helps set up like an empathetic but boundaried situation where it's, especially with those really complex ones, that just feel way, way, way too complex.
And I try to, on that same note, find something like if I can make them a promise, I will.
Yeah.
And sometimes it might be like, I promise you, when you leave today, you are no longer going to be triple feeding 8 times a day.
Right.
Like doing all the things 8 times a day. Or I'll say, like, it's just something. I
Yeah.
promise you, we're going to work on a plan together that is going to feel more doable than what you're doing right now. Like,
Yeah,
I feel like I can make that promise.
Yeah. I like the plan promise because, like, so many times parents will come in and, like, they're like, I'm doing this, but I'm also doing this, and I don't even know if I should be doing that, and then I'm doing this, and I'm doing that, and, like, I love to be like, I want you to be reassured, like, before you leave today, we will come up together with a plan that you feel like is manageable and is working towards the goals that you have, like,
Mhm.
not some goal out there on TikTok, but like the goal that you genuinely have. Like, we're going to figure that out and then we'll have a plan. And I always reassure him, I'm like, that'll help you feel so much more settled when you know that the steps you're taking are towards a goal that's right for you and the steps are going to move you in that direction.
Definitely. It's such a good balance of, like, making sure that they feel like you have a picture in your mind that matches what they want and that you know things that they don't, but also that you're not like gonna make them be like, "Yes, I can, bring in your milk supply by tomorrow," or,
Right.
"I've got a easy 5-step process that will have you living the breastfeeding lifestyle of your dreams, just follow my proven method." I'm like, all of those like that
The Frisbee method.
the Frisbee method, all of those things we see on social media of, like, people making promises where you're like, "You can't make that promise." Like, "I can't make that
No.
promise." I don't have a proven method that always does the same thing, but I do have an ability to listen and to hear what somebody wants and help, really respect what they want and have their goals be the most important thing. And hopefully, on my good days, which hopefully most of my days are good days, I'm able to communicate difficult clinical things in a way that is easy for them to understand and that they feel applies to their situation and help them feel like they are the ones that are in charge, I guess. Like, it's like,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. And I think, helping them understand that like each case is so individualized is something that I really try to focus on too. So they don't feel like, well, my friend had this experience and, the person on social media had this experience. I'll really emphasize that like this little this little package of DNA right here has literally never existed on this planet before. And then you and that little package of DNA person is unique. Like, y'all are two little puzzle pieces that have never come together. Even if you've had 5 other kids, this little puzzle pieces coming together of you and baby are unique. And that in and of itself is going to make this a completely individualized journey, and just helping them see that and like no matter what everybody else is doing, like this journey is individualized, and that's why our work is so both difficult and necessary, is because we really have to take the time to kind of look at everything the parents bringing to the table, everything the baby's bringing to the table, and then everything that's desired out of the situation and try to cultivate plans towards that. But I try to be really open with my families about how, yeah, this might not look like your last journey feeding a baby, or it might not look like your friend's journey. And sometimes I think that brings them a lot of peace, just to think about it in that way that, like, oh, yeah, this little human has never existed before. Wait a second. That means nobody really knows about this little person and they have to be figured out, And I think that sometimes can be a little breath of fresh air of like, okay, they don't have to perform like all the babies in the books that they read or whatever. That was like some figuring out, and that's normal and necessary and part of, our job together is to figure that out.
Totally. That's so good. I love that. I'm going to add that one into my repertoire. Just helping them feel like what they're having when they come into a session with us is something individual, something personal, and that we care. And because we do care. And I mean, obviously, that ends up being the hardest part of our job is
Right.
that we do care so much. But
I know.
but when we can convey that, I mean, like when you get that review from a client and you hear them saying what it meant to them to work with you, it really is an honor. And it
Yeah.
really is like not something that I take lightly, that I can help people feel good about working with me. Or me working for them. It's like all I really want is is for you to feel good in your parenting journey, and whatever happens, I want you and your baby to enjoy getting to know each other.
Yeah, yeah, and just helping them see their little one as like another fellow human who's trying to figure out life, just as much as they are. I'll do a lot of like, that reminder of the humanness of the baby, how many times you go eat lunch and then an hour later you're like, I could really eat more. I'm like, I do that all the time, or how many times do you get all snuggled down in bed and then you go, I'm so thirsty, and you gotta get up and get a quick drink. I'm like, just things like that to just help them, see their little one as the little human that needs an extra hug. It is definitely another way that we can tap into their, how they're feeling about the situation.
Definitely. Well, I feel inspired for my day of consults tomorrow, and also just have a couple of more things that I can use when I'm training my new people that I'm bringing on right now, just to kind of help them, and other ways that we can look at what we do. So, this was a great conversation, and I always like being able to talk through how weird our job is, and especially how weird it is when I'm watching an HBO show about plane crashes and I'm like, I just saw my job represented.
In this show. That is hilarious, and now I'm gonna have to go watch that show. It sounds like a really good one.
It is. It's weird. It's very weird, but I did learn a lot from it, or I did get some good insight about myself. So
Yeah. Awesome. Well, it was good talking to you today, Annie,
it was great
and,
talking to you. And
I
yeah, we'll see each other, and hopefully others at our deeper dive coming up at the end of May with Lisa Morasco on low milk supply. So I'm excited about that, and always have questions on that topic.
oh
So
my gosh, always.
you can join with a subscription and get access to all of our lives and all of our recordings, or you can just come to one, whatever you do. We'd love to see you there live, and everybody who registers to join live also gets the recording automatically. Hopefully, we'll see you there. And until next time, thank you. It was great talking with you, Leah.
Same to you. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye. If you enjoyed today's episode, please share it with a friend and leave us a review. Be sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode.